would start with Varun. Varun, please tell us what are the top 5 things that you would do practically when you hit office, probably on fourth morning or whenever you plan to do it. What would be those 5 things?
So Ajay, frankly, whatever I would do when the lockdown opens has already started to happen. Frankly, the journey for us has been a very, very different one because we are in essential goods, and I'm sure Hari has been through the same thing as we have. But just to start off, my perspective on this whole thing. First of all, I think it's an event which is a great leveler. Never in recorded history has there been such a widespread disruption and in equal measure all over the world, all at the same time, right? I can't think of anything else that has been of such magnitude, right? Second, I think all assumptions are being smashed, right? And continuously new assumptions are coming in and they are being challenged, right? So we are all learning to avoid hindsight bias, and we are taking uncertainty very, very seriously, all of us, in whatever that we are doing, right? So I think there isn't any computer program which could have, predicted or given us, a sort of a forecast on what's going to happen, right? We are under attack. All of us are under attack, but there is no physical force which is attacking us. There's no enemy really who's coming after us. It's just nature which has attacked us at this point in time. And when event like this happens, you don't have a common enemy. So what do? The best thing that you can do at a time like this is to adapt, right? And the challenge really for all of us is that of adaptation. And this is really testing us on a day-to-day basis on what is the capability that we have to adapt to a situation like this. And frankly, the way I look at it, I'm looking at this crisis to build resilience, my own resilience, my organization's resilience, and also productivity as we go forward, right? So that, to my mind, is what this is all about. Now, just quickly getting to what's happening as I see it on the world stage. Clearly, China is becoming the villain of the piece in this whole thing, right? But, they are doing things in their own way. They continue to be decisive and progressive in their own self-centered way. US has clearly, lost out in this race. As Trump handles this situation, very clearly US is losing this race of, taking the leadership in a crisis like this. Our Prime Minister has come out on top. I must say that he's been very, very decisive, and he's taken this challenge very, very seriously. The issue really is going to be, how do you sustain this long-term lockdown as it destroys economic viability for a somewhat challenged and I would say a fragile economy like India, right? So, and other challenges that exist in India clearly are, I would say that as a country, we do not have the same hygiene habits that even some of our poor neighbors have. And I've worked in various countries. I worked in the Philippines and in Vietnam, and so all of these countries, the per capita income is about the same. But as you walk down a road, you will see, everything is neat and tidy. It might not be the best infrastructure, but people are clean. People are wearing clean clothes. They might not be expensive clothes, but clean clothes. If you were to do that, in your part of the country, Ajay, in Delhi, if you were to walk, or even in Bombay, if you were to, you will see that people do not care too much about their hygiene. The clothes will be dirty, wouldn't be washed, etc. So I think this is going to teach us a lesson or two as far as hygiene is concerned. Medical aid, I think we are a great country for medical aid. We have people coming in, but we still haven't had the ability to create the kind of infrastructure that is required for this kind of a thing. So I think those are the challenges that we'll face, right? But I think the most important thing finally for a country like India will be to create herd immunity for people. I think that's how it's going to happen. Protect the old and the weak, and let the strong and the young to get to work and do what is required. I think that's what's going to be really important, because otherwise we will test our medical infrastructure to a limit where it'll start to crack up. Right now, from an organization standpoint, how have we coped with this? I think we've coped reasonably well to this situation. Obviously, the first 10 days was a shock for all of us, and we didn't know what to do. So we were struggling. The first thing that we did, first principle that I followed was that connectivity and trust, right, are the best glue for a team in times of crisis. So, we made sure that we created that connectivity and that trust. So we set out some protocols. The first protocol was obviously on environment, health, and safety, right? So we had very clear SOPs for our factories, whatever was operating, right? Very clear SOPs, social distancing, whatever else that we are talking about. I'm not going to get into the details, but that was very important. We also got COVID insurance for any person in any way exposed to the external environment. So we did that. We also, created the right transportation for people who were coming from villages close to our plants, etc., with the right distancing between, the people sitting in the bus, etc. So all of that was done. So that was the first and most important thing. Second, what I did from maybe the third day onwards, we started a daily review meeting, and believe me, the connectivity hasn't been like this in the last 7 years that I've been with the organization. So we have a daily review meeting where we, every day we talk about what is the progress of the last day, what are the priorities as we go forward. And the entire executive committee is on that meeting. It was very important to get government connectivity because, as all of you must have felt as well, it was very important to get permissions. It was very important to, get them to understand the issues that you were facing on the ground. So government connectivity was extremely important. Then I started a weekly town hall meeting because it was important to tell the entire organization on what was the progress being made and also to listen to them, right? Listening to them was also important because, when you're sitting at home, idle mind is a devil's workshop. So a lot of things sort of start coming in and you're reading every day, you're reading news of job losses and this and that. So they want to talk. So listening was very important, and we did that as well. We tightened our costs to the limit, right? And the principle was no more capital expenditure till it becomes extremely necessary, right? We also did a protocol on how do we connect with our customers remotely, right? So all of us who were sitting at home, we've got a database. So we chalked out which town, village we are going to be adopting. And we would connect with 40 customers every day on the phone just to check out what was happening, whether they were getting, our stocks, what was the situation on the ground, were they safe, etc., etc. So I think that protocol worked really well, and we compile that into a report, and we see it in our daily meetings, right? So we did that. We also tied up with CII to train stores on how they should, create the atmosphere within the store to keep the store owner safe as well as the customers safe. This is an initiative called the Suraksha Store, which we are a part of. It's a lot of FMCGs, about 12 FMCGs are a part of this. So we did that as well. So I think I'm quite enjoying this new way of life. Frankly, if you think about it, business is now stable and moving in the right direction. frankly, all meetings start on time and end on time. We are much more better connected than we've ever been in the past. We are working harder than we worked in the past. So it's a great place to be. And I think there is a lot that we can get out of it as we move forward. So that's my 5 things. I'm sorry I took that to more than 5, but that's my take on the situation.
Not a worry, Varun. All pearls of wisdom. Honestly, I loved the last statement of yours that you and your team are enjoying this.
Yeah.
The key message is that a big CEO of the country is saying that even in adversity, find ways of enjoying it. While I didn't hear too many strategic things, and the reason being that there is so much of volatility and ambiguity in the whole environment, but how to cope with uncertainty, and most importantly, how do you still do cultural binding, the connectivity and trust building to basically reinforce your culture, were some of the big takeouts for me. Brilliant.